Okay, this is my Bits and Beats video on Sweat, Act 2, Scene 1, the latter half with Chris and Cynthia. So both of them have a shared goal of wanting to reconnect with one another, but being unsure as to how to actually go about that. Cynthia, ultimately, she wants to make her son feel welcomed, but she also wants to know more about the incident that landed him and Jason in prison. But she feels probably very guilty for not having reached out to Chris in a while he was in prison. So she's not quite sure if she's deserving of asking those sorts of questions. She also doesn't want her son to know that she's lost the house, she's working paycheck to paycheck and kind of down on her luck, but that's very apparent, I think, in her surroundings and in her physical appearance, that she's a little bit more disheveled and looks very tired for a woman her age and doing what she's doing. Chris, similarly, wants to reconnect with his mom, and I think he wants to confide in her what happened between him and Jason and the incident that ended up sending them to jail. But he's not entirely sure. He's been gone for a very long time, so I don't think he's entirely sure how to open up to that, and I think he's worried that once he does, his mother will judge him for what happened. So they both have that goal of wanting to reconnect and wanting to open up to each other, but they just don't know how to approach each other anymore. So their relationship is that mother-son, but also strangers, old acquaintances reconnecting after a very long time and not knowing what the social boundaries are between each other. Sorry, I'm reading. So I think there's one beat change, I think, in the whole second half of this scene. And I think it comes when Cynthia starts to get very emotional and she is about to cry and Jason stops and comforts her. And not Jason, Chris stops and comforts her. And I think this is where the beat changes because emotionally, they've kind of gotten through all of the pleasantries and the niceties of reconnecting, and all of those emotions are really bubbling to the surface, and they can finally, after she apologizes, they can finally say what it is they've been trying to say this whole time. But there are 3 bits that I have named. The first one I have as welcome home pleasantries, which is from the start of that second half of the scene to when Cynthia says, "Don't get it mixed up, you're staying." She's saying, "You're staying here." Bit 2, "Who are you?" is when they're trying to figure out who they are to each other, and then after she apologizes, the truth comes out, Cynthia apologizes, and they're finally able to open up and reconnect to each other on an emotional level.